You know, I've been critical. I've been critical of one Nancy Pelosi because she's not progressive. She's a Republican, and I don't want her to be Speaker of the House. But it looks like we've basically given up on trying to get a progressive challenger to her. But boy, is Chuck Schumer awful too. Boy, is Chuck Schumer awful too. Chuck Todd, he has Chuck Schumer on, and Chuck Schumer twisted himself into a pretzel on Medicare for all. Let's take a look at Chuck E. Cheese Schumer.
It's an awful ruling. Let's make no mistake about it.
Some progressives, as you know, and maybe even some senators in your own caucus are going to say, okay, here we go again with the Affordable Care Act, and it was a flawed enterprise anyway. Here's what Adam Green, founder of Progressive Change Campaign Committee, writes. He says, Democrats need to put a bright North Star in the sky for 2020 voters, showing what Democrats would do with more power and making clear that we're moving toward Medicare for all as a big part of a 2020 electoral strategy. It seems pretty clear that the presidential nominee, whoever it is, will support Medicare for all. Do you think it's time for Democrats to push this?
Look, Democrats are for universal access to health care.
Oh, access. Universal access to health care. Gotta love those conservative talking points.
From one end of the party to the other. We want more people covered, everyone covered. We want better health care at a lower cost. People have different views as to how to get there. Many are for Medicare for all. Some are for Medicare buy-in. Some are Medicare over 55. Some are Medicaid buy-in. Some are public option. We're going to have to do a lot more on health care. It will be a major issue in 2020. And I believe Democrats will coalesce around the best way to get the best health care for the most people.
Where are you? Do you think you should spend more time fixing the Affordable Care Act or launching a new health care proposal?
Well, we first have to undo this awful decision because, look, we have a Republican president. We have a Republican Senate. They've spent a lot of time sabotaging health care. So that's the first job. But after that, Democrats, as we did in 2018 rather successfully, are going to make health care a major, probably the major issue in the upcoming campaigns and as we act in Congress. And we're going to force our Republican colleagues, now that this decision has sort of lifted up their hypocrisy, to choose a side. Are you for the American people, working people, for more and better health care, or are you going to continue to cut it? Same with Trump. Same with President Trump.
I know you're very careful about putting your view here now that you're the leader of the Senate conference there. Where are you going to support Medicare for all, Senator Schumer?
Look, as I said, there are lots of different routes. I'm going to support a plan that can pass and that can provide the best, cheapest health care for all Americans.
Yeah, so that's going to beat Donald Trump. That's going to beat Donald Trump. I support access for all. I support access for all Americans because we're for the working man. We're for the working man. You know, technically, I have access to a bank. You know, technically, I have access to the beach. It doesn't mean I could purchase a house on the beach, but I have access to a beach. Technically, I have access right now to get an Obamacare plan. The problem is, it's too expensive here in New York. And it's too expensive in a lot of other places with high deductibles and other ridiculous things like extremely high coinsurance and several deductibles within one plan. But, you know, Chuck Schumer, by the way, this was a thing. Chuck Schumer tried to sabotage Obamacare in the first place. Chuck Schumer is the one who was basically telling Obama, no on a public option. My insurance company donors will not like that. And by the way, the insurance companies are very upset with Trump trying to go after the ACA. They like the ACA, the insurance companies. They don't want anything to happen to the insurance companies have made out like bank robbers with Obamacare. You know, I have access to creme brulee at the supermarket, but it's very expensive. I was looking at creme brulee the other day at the supermarket, but it was like $16. Nancy Pelosi. She's trying to put forward this cockamamie, we won't tax 80% of working people plan, which was really a code for not allowing Medicare for all to pass, because you're going to have to raise taxes a little bit for Medicare for all, but you'll save so much more. No deductibles, no copays, no nothing. Pay as you go, too. But, what does it matter to Chuck Schumer? He's filthy rich. He doesn't care. He doesn't have a problem with health care. His kids don't have problems getting health care. His daughter, who works for Facebook, doesn't have a problem with health care. What does he care? What does Beto O'Rourke care? He wouldn't sign on to Medicare for all. What does he care? He's rich. Do you think you're getting a 10% Wall Street tax, Rick? Over Chuck Schumer's lifeless body, you'll get a 10% Wall Street tax. And by the way, Medicare for all is such a great policy to go after Trump with. Trump during the campaign said, well, I'm going to get in trouble as a Republican, but everyone's got to be covered. Everyone's got to be covered. Of course he didn't mean it. His health care plan that he tried to push through eliminated pre-existing conditions and was a terrible, it wasn't even a plan. It was basically shit out of luck health care, go to the emergency room, like we had before Obamacare. So if you want to defeat Donald Trump, you have to contrast yourself to Donald Trump and say to Donald Trump, hey, Donald Trump, 52% of the Republican Party want Medicare for all. It's polling at 52% among Republicans. So, this is how you defeat Donald Trump. Real policy differences. Hillary Clinton couldn't contrast to Donald Trump. She's bought off by Wall Street. She's bought off by Big Pharma. She's bought off by Silicon Valley. She's bought off by fossil fuels. She's not a contrast to Donald Trump. That's why she ran her whole campaign, Trump's awful, Trump's awful, vote for me, because she knew she doesn't have the policy credibility. But I would suggest to the Democratic Party, they're not going to take me up on it because they're in bed with Big Pharma and Wall Street is invested heavily in pharmaceutical companies. But I would suggest saying to Donald Trump, hey, you said we were going to have health care for all. Now's your chance. We support Medicare for all because 70% of the American people are with us. 70% of the American people are with us, and 52% of the Republican Party are with us. Let Donald Trump have to defend that. Let Donald Trump have to defend that. But no, Chuck Schumer. Well, I'm for fresh access to tomatoes. I want all Americans to have access to fresh, ripe tomatoes. And that's the problem with the United Corporations of America, because we don't have politicians that are connected with the people that they represent. They don't go to their districts. They don't go to community meetings. They're not with, on the ground, the activists. They are living in their wealthy ivory tower. Craig says, you got access now. Everybody has access. I could go tomorrow with, $1 million and say, I want an appointment right now with the best heart surgeon in the world if I had a heart problem. But I need that $1 million. So this is the problem with the Democratic Party. I'm not hard on the Democratic Party for clicks. I'm not hard on the Democratic Party for my health. I'm hard on the Democratic Party because I want to defeat Trump. I want to defeat Paul Ryan. I want to defeat Mitch McConnell. I'd like to defeat Lindsay, love war, gonna cry my sour eyes to sleep because we're leaving Syria. I would like to defeat all of these extreme conservative Tea Party lunatics. But you don't defeat them by offering a lighter version of conservatism. You're not going to defeat Donald Trump offering, we want access to health care. We want access for everybody. Tulsi might run, Rick. Tulsi could beat them all. Tulsi might run.